tends to be abandoned by developing. Katameji bikke asava bhavana pahatabba, like through meditation and developing. Okay. So what has to be abandoned by developing? Here bhikkhu reflecting wisely develops the mindfulness enlightening factor. That means the bojjhanga. Sati sambojjhangam bhaveti. The enlightened factor of mindfulness has to be developed within you. How do you develop mindfulness within you? How? Based on what do you develop mindfulness? Yeah, what are the basis of mindfulness?
Cattaro Satipatthana.
Yeah. Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana. Based on like the focusing mindfully on your body, you develop mindfulness. Focusing upon the feelings, painful, painful, pleasant, neutral, pleasant and painful and neutral feelings. You develop mindfulness. Then Chittanupassana, based on like the mindful of mind, your mind, the states of your mind, you develop mindfulness. And Dhammanupassana, contemplating upon the 5 aggregates, the 6 senses, the hindrances, the 4 noble truths. Again, you develop mindfulness. So, how do you develop Sati Sambojjhanga Bhaveti Viveka Nissita? So, develop mindfulness enlightenment factor. Viveka Nissita means supported by seclusion. That means there is seclusion from what? The 5 hindrances. When you develop mindfulness, the 5 hindrances is subdued. With what goal? With like says Viveka Nissita, Viraga Nissita, Nirodha Nissita. Wasagga Parinami. Viraga Nissita means with dispassion. Nirodha Nissita means eradicating of craving. And Wasagga Parinami means like to attain Nibbana with that goal in mind. You practice the mindfulness enlightenment factor. Sati Sambojjhangam Bhaveti. That mindfulness in that way has to be developed within you. That means you have to be mindful. So when you are mindful, what happens? The hindrances are subdued. And the craving is not increased. It's stifled and it gradually declines. And there's dispassion. And what you are developing is gradually you are progressing in the path to attain Nibbana. In that way, you have to cultivate and develop mindfulness, enlightenment factor. Sati Sambojjhanga Bhaveti. So next what? Dhamma Vichaya, no? Sati Dhamma Vichaya. Dhamma is the Dhamma. Vichaya means to consider wisely, to attain wisely, wise consideration. That means thinking in accordance to the Dhamma. Thinking wisely according to the Dhamma, that you have to develop that quality within yourself. When you develop that quality, when you contemplate with wisdom, what happens? Again, the hindrances are subdued. And dispassion is there. Dispassion is there and cessation is there. Cessation of lust, the desire is there. Cessation of craving is there. And you are progressing in the path to attain enlightenment. Sati Dhamma Vichaya, then Virya. Always there has to be effort. The fourfold striving is there. That there is constant effort to abandon the unwholesome and develop the wholesome. When you keep doing that again, the hindrances are subdued. And dispassion is there. Craving declines. And you are progressing in the path to attain Nibbana. So Sati Dhamma Vichaya Virya. Then there arises Piti. What is rapture? No? Yeah. Rapture enlightenment factor. Why is there Priti or rapture? Because you see yourself. Now I am practicing mindfulness, practicing wise consideration. I never harbor unwholesome thoughts. I have a constant effort to develop the wholesome, then you are happy seeing that you are practicing the path as shown by the Buddha. So then you are developing rapture and entitlement factor within you. Sati Dhammicha Vidya Piti, then Passadi comes. This is a methodical process. If the causes are there, then the results will be there. If there is sati, if there is no sati, then no Dhammavicca. If there is no Dhammavicca, no virya, no rapture, piti. Then comes what? Passadi. That is what? The passadi is the light. The body and the mind becomes light. It is also enlightenment factor. So in that, when the body and mind becomes light, what happens? Piti passadi samadhi. Concentration arises within you. And the hindrances are further subdued. And craving declines. Dispassion arises. And you keep on contemplating on the reality of the 5 aggregates, the 6 senses, the 4 elements, and you try to see with wisdom impermanence, the suffering and unself. Sati Dhammicha Vedi Passadi Samadhi, then Upekha. When you see the reality, then you become equanimous. You doesn't get attached to anything. And your hindrances are further subdued, dispassion and craving declines, and then you Upekha Sambojjhanga. With the fulfillment of Upekha, you can eradicate all the taints. Then you attain enlightenment by eradicating all the taints. So that is what you call, by developing you can abandon taints. That is developing by what? By developing what? By developing the Sapta Bojjhanga, the 7 factors of enlightenment. So then Buddha said, if the taints are thus abandoned, ayang uchchati bhikkave bhikkhu sabbāsava sanghara samutto viharati. Like in these 7 ways we discussed in these suttas, if the taints are all abandoned, then he is called a bhikkhu who dwells restrained with the restraint of all the taints. Asavakkaya, that means he is freed from all taints. Acchochi tanghang, that means he has severed craving. He has eradicated craving. Vavattai sanyojana, front of the fetters. All the fetters have been destroyed and abandoned. Samma mana abhisamaya, and with the complete penetration of conceit. There is no more conceit within him. Antamakasi dukkhasati, he has made an end of suffering. So suffering ends when what happens? When all the taints are destroyed. So taints exist as long as there is ignorance. And when ignorance is dispelled through the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path, then so are the taints, and there is no more suffering. So if you want to actually get rid of the taints, because once we go through life, if you pay attention to these 7 factors, then you will see if you do not adhere to this, definitely unarisen taints arise within you, and arisen taints further increase. You can see that for yourself. And if you are able to practice these 7 ways by which you can actually abandon the taints, then again, you can experience that for yourself, that the taints do not grow within you. You are able to abandon, and you see a decline in them. You can protect yourself, and gradually if you do that, then that means you are practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. So in this phase, basically when we study the suttas, Buddha once said, in many ways what I have told you is of suffering and the cause of suffering. So in these suttas, we again and again we learn about the suffering. Buddha points out this is suffering, this is cause of suffering, this is the cessation of suffering, path leading to the cessation of suffering. Here we learn that something that causes suffering. There is such a thing that are called taints. And there are things that bring us suffering. And there is a cause, the reason they exist. And there is they can be eradicated. And Buddha told us 7 ways by which how they can be eradicated. And he also showed us the path, no? The path, the way by which you give up all the taints, abandon and remove them. Likewise, it's clear the path shown by the Buddha. It's up to us to practice.